But isn't the argument of the industry that to create the infrastructure, say like Australia has for very, very backpacker-friendly country, is in terms of the benefit or the return of the investment, the ROI is just too far along into the future? Or is that an equation that will change after the...
It will change. It will change after the, because then the high end will get the real high end prices. At the moment, what is worth $200 or what is sold for $200 can be sold for $400. It's a demand and supply thing.
Yeah.
And then the backpacker lodge, which is sold for $5, will get $20. So all will start making money.
Cricket. Now, you said that you were playing for a very young age. Can you tell us about your game?
At that time, it was fun. I mean, I played for St. Joseph's College and then went on to play for Sri Lanka schools and 2 seasons of club cricket. But then I realized that at that time my father was my chief financier, there was no, even to buy a beer at the end of the game, I had to borrow money from my father. So there was...
So surely the game didn't end because you couldn't afford a beer at the end of the match.
No, but I went out of the country to study.
Right.
And that just...
well, the US is not known for its cricketing prowess, but you didn't want to continue it, you just...
When you lose 4 years, then it's difficult to come back.
You gave up the form, but you've been involved with the game. You're a passionate, ardent follower.
Yeah, I mean, I do follow the game, and plus, of course, I was involved in St. Joseph's College Cricket Advisory Council and so on, until my sons now are trying to play in the team. So I thought I should take a back seat and not try to advise them too much,
You've listed as your passions reading as well. I was not surprised, but I was heartened to hear that a hotelier who reads should be celebrated.
That's one thing my father forced me to do. Right. That's probably the only thing he forced me to do. He never forced me to study.
And he was obviously a man of the...
Yeah, he used to read a lot.
Yeah.
He used to read a lot, and he used to buy me books. And even the year I sat for my O-levels, he never asked me to study, but he used to buy me books and says, read this.
And what kind of books did you read growing up? What stuck in your mind?
Alex Haley, Roots. I mean, that's something that I remember. That's one of the books that he bought, and I said, look, this book is too thick. I can't be reading this. He said, no, you have to read these to understand what life is all about in the world. And then it took me about, I think, 3 months to read it, but I read it.
Yeah.
So, I mean, before that, of course, I was reading the Enid Blytons to James Hadley Chase to Agatha Christie's, that kind of stuff.
Do you still have time to read?
Yeah, I do have. I
make time, or you have?
I make time. Every day, I think it's like reading the Bible for me. Before I go to bed, I read at least for 20 minutes to 30 minutes. Now, of course, from business to life stories of leading personalities and what have you, and a few novels here and there. So try to get.
So do you have time to read the stuff that you want to read instead of just the stuff that you have to read?
No, I read the stuff that I want to read.
Oh, you read. All of it is what you want to read.
Most of it is what I want to read. Yeah, I mean, that's what I enjoy doing.
And on the topic of literature, you have been associated with, in some form or the other, with the Galle Literary Festival, now close upon 3 years. You were on a shared session with Mother
The first year, yes.
The first year as well. How has that been like? What do you feel? I mean, do events of this nature raise the profile, not just the GLF, but events of this nature which bring internationally recognized names to the country, irrespective of what's going on in the country at the present moment? Do you feel that?
I think it's wonderful. I mean, those events really lift. I mean, I know you were in Galle. A lot of us who were in Galle during that time, we really realized that Galle really comes alive. And then these are the events that make you proud to be Sri Lankan. You feel proud, my God, these things happen in Sri Lanka, and to be rated as one of the best events in the world now, that's even better. So yeah, I mean, I think more of these should be had. I mean, now the Hattotuwa, the beach festival, maybe we should have a drumming festival in Kandy maybe one day, and maybe a seafood festival in Negombo, for example. So Sri Lanka also gets known for different events during different times of the year.
But tell me, Hiran, I mean, some of the criticism against both the literary festival in Galle and certainly this festival in Hattotuwa are that they're elitist events, and particularly with the Hattotuwa events, the cultural brigade came out and said that there were inappropriate attired women, there was dancing that was inappropriate as well. So an entire litany of issues which seem to be critical of these events and not suggest anything alternative, and just being critical for being critical, just for the sake of being critical. I mean, do these help?
So if it's constructive criticism, it will definitely help.
Yeah.
But if it's just criticism because they were not involved in it or whatever it is, or they couldn't attend it,
Yeah.
I don't think we should really worry too much about it, because I mean what can you do? I mean, you can't please everyone. You know, there is a limitation.
Well, let me ask it a different way.
Okay.
Is there some kind of pressure being put on the industry writ large, not just on you, but the industry writ large? I don't know how to call it, but how to make these events more culturally appropriate to the country, however you want to define it?
Well, there is a certain amount of pressure being put in,
Yeah.
for sure. I can tell you that. So the organizers are also learning from it all the time, and you know, I think including it now. I think this time the Galle Literary Festival, the opening ceremony was at Martin Wickramasinghe, you know, museum, home, various things. So you bring in that element. You know, maybe I wish, you know, if more of Martin Wickramasinghe was spoken of during the festival, you know, because he is probably one of the greatest writers that Sri Lanka has ever produced. So yeah, I mean, you know, but those things we can always sit back and criticize. I mean, but I think we should give credit to those people who organize it, because it you know, lifts up the whole not only Galle or Hattotuwa, the whole country. So if people have constructive thoughts, criticisms to come in, yeah, I mean, then the organizers can take those in for the next year's event and, you know, try to include those as well.